Just ahead on American Black Journal, Detroit Tigers legend Willie Horton is here. We're going to talk about the newly named Willie Horton Field of Dreams at the site of the old Tiger Stadium. Plus, the head of the Regional Transit Authority is going to give us an update on plans to improve transportation in Southeast Michigan. We've got a great show ahead, so stay right there. American Black Journal starts now.
At DTE Energy, we believe that we have a greater responsibility. We believe that being part of a community means being involved in the fabric of that community, investing time, effort, and resources in the communities we serve. DTE Energy Foundation is a proud sponsor of American Black Journal.
Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. Detroit Tiger fans know him as number 23. Slugger Willie Horton debuted for the team 16 years after Jackie Robinson broke racial barriers in baseball. Horton was a four-time All-Star, and he's one of a handful of players to have his number retired by the Tigers. His legacy is evident everywhere here in Detroit. A statue of his likeness stands in Comerica Park, and the baseball and softball fields at his alma mater, Northwestern High School, are named after him. And now the Detroit Police Athletic League is naming its new sports field the Willie Horton Field of Dreams. It's located at the corner of Michigan and Trumbull, the spot where Horton helped the Tigers bring home the 1968 World Series championship, and it's the place where he spent much of his time during 14 seasons with the team. I'm pleased to have Willie Horton here as my guest today. Welcome to American Black Journal.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I have to say, as a kid growing up here in the 1970s, of course, for me, the Tigers were synonymous with Willie Horton, right? There were no other players as far as I was concerned when I was a young kid. I think that's true of a lot of African-American kids who grew up at that time. Let's go back to 1961, though, which was the first year that you say you went to Lakeland to be...
First year, go back, I think about Jake Wood.
Yeah.
My dad let me skip school to see him play in 1961, I think April the 11th. And I thought I was signed with the other team, but that day I got ready to sign the end of the summer. We were going down Trumbull. I was raised up in the project. And I asked Papa, I said, where are we going this way? He said, well, you know, I think you don't have to stay. You know, I think we'll keep you here. Maybe you can make a difference.
Keep you here in Detroit.
Yeah, him and Judge Keefe. Judge Keefe, you know, I've been knowing him since I was 13. And my dad put me in his hand, and my mother. And he taught me things between 13 and 14, experience that I don't think I could have got anywhere, but just being with him in and out of courtroom. I met judges, I met lawyers, I met presidents and Dr. King. But I'm just blessed. But that field that we're talking about is, it was a flashback because it's over in my neighborhood.
Right. And talk about, so you go to Lakeland for spring training.
Exactly.
This is the early 1960s in the South. Really different time than now. Talk about what that was.
Well, you know, my first trip out from Florida, that I would experience what Mother Park experienced, but in Tampa, the bus was full anyway. I went to the back, but when I got off the bus in Lakeland and get in a cab, a yellow cab, and we had yellow and checker cab here, and he said, I can't take it. And I thought they were playing a joke on me. You know, how you hear about, they play jokes on rookies when they wait from school, when you go to college. And I said, well, give my duffel bag, I'll walk. And I think it's about 5 or 6 miles. And I look back in life on the best walk I had in my life, because it took me, I lived my life way beyond the field. I was fortunate. From that walk, I met Bob Hope, been overseas with him several times, and on my own several other times, still involved with the military. And then in the community, I got involved with community groups. And I went back down to Lakeland, helped integrate with Pick and Poke Theater. Got involved in integration in the school system. And Lakeland just like Detroit to me. But that walk started all, and I think that walk brought me right when they designate the field in my name. It started back in 1961 with the people that I met through Judge Keefe.
That first season, as you point out, Jake Wood was the first African-American
to come through our organization.
To come through the Tigers organization. What was it like then with the organization? I mean...
well, it was tough. You know, it was just what it is. I was blessed that way I was raised. I come from a very large family. It was 21 of us in our family, youngest, but my parents always went out and still helped others. My dad worked 2 or 3 jobs to help us. But I think it started there. But you go back when experienced that. I couldn't eat with the players. I couldn't sleep with them at the beginning. But it took me, people like Mickey Stanley, one of my closest teammates through the years, the white kid from Grand Rapids, Michigan. He kind of helped me, got involved, getting involved in integration work and getting involved to help fight the cause. Because he didn't understand why we couldn't be together. We play together, but
right.
That's the only thing on the field. But at the even time we can do things. But it took me, and I got involved with him, and I got involved with things in Lakeland. And I remember my first trip in Lakeland, going to Duluth, Minnesota. We had to ride a bus all the way to Duluth, and the older guys had to take turn to drive the bus.
Driving it.
Yeah, because they wouldn't let the black players stay in hotels.
Yeah.
And from things like that help you get involved. But I have a great life experience, like I said, Mother Park. I talks about her a lot because I'm fortunate to have a permanent day in Michigan behind her.
Yeah.
It's 4 person in the state have that honor. And I'm the 4th person at Mother Park, just from that walk.
Right, right. The first season, talk about that first time you get up to bat in the major leagues.
Well,
it's intimidating, obviously, but what are you thinking about?
Well, you know, when I got to the big league, I came from AA ball. I thought you had to go back to AAA ball. And actually, I thought the manager was playing a joke on me. I went back to the ballpark the next day, and they had to get me out and met the team in Washington, D.C. the next day. And before I got on the bench, I got to about the 5th inning, and Charlie Jefferson asked him, "Can you hit?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Go and hit," just like that. And I think, and I took that as a lesson in my life. When you relax and enjoy life, you make things happen.
It just happens.
And I went up and got a base hit to tie the game up. And then we come back home, and Detroit, I'm going to see all my high school buddies and stuff like that. And first day in Tiger State, and that I was supposed to have been on the bench. I'm down in the bullpen. Well, I wasn't supposed to be down there, but all my high school buddies down there.
I see.
So I'm down there talking to them.
Talking to them
and I didn't know what inning the game is all about. They said they looking for you to pitch it. It was in the 9th inning. And I'm thinking about if I go on the field, go to the dugout, they could see me. So I went over the stand, went through the stand, and went through the tunnel, and came up. And one of the guys that my dad always talked about, Robbie Robertson, which was a great Hall of Fame from Michigan, went to Michigan State. A very respected man that my dad always talked about. And I didn't know who was pitching. And I hit a home run and tied the game up.
Yeah.
In the 9th inning, they told me who it was. I almost vomited, fell over, and I got him to sign the ball. But it's something that you love doing. And I took things like that because you got to keep the little boy in you. And you have to have the experience. And when you have the little boy in you, your skills, your learning skills keep growing.
Yeah.
And but through the channels of people I've been involved in, thanks to Judge Keefe and a lot of people that I go back in life. I think about when I started working with the police department, with PAL, and et cetera. I think that Coleman Young, I think the first car dealership was on Dexter, Mr. Davis.
Yeah.
And Big. So all of them people is part of Willie Horton life. And I think I proclaimed that so I can, what I'm doing, just giving back to the community what they gave to me.
Yeah. As we said in the open, you graduated from Northwestern High School. You said you grew up in the projects, Jeffers Projects. Talk about what Detroit was like when you were a little
Well, you didn't
kid.
think about it. We just, at the time, you had just many white people in the project. We had black. We had a lot of Kent Cochran. He was going to Wayne State. He was living in the project at the time. But we was all together, and that's something that I think that we miss in life. And I'm doing something in Florida now, a program I'm doing. It's based on what I've seen in my time with the community. The churches and the community was your community. And then we lost that. And for some reason, all the churches here and filtered down in the school, we lost that. And I said, but if we can just start getting that back together, we'll get our community back. To me, that's what I learned about the project. We learn to do things together. We learn how to pick, project was very clean. We know how to cut grass. We know how to pick next door neighbor on the streets, the can field, to see a can on somebody's lawn, we pick it up. So we learn how to take care of our own. I think there's something where we kind of missing the boat in life. People say, well, we don't have that, but why we don't have it? Yeah. Just look at the past, look what you got. Why did it get like that? And I take that from my learning from people I just mentioned that taught me them things. It doesn't hurt me to open the door for an older lady or a young lady, et cetera. But that's what we and my wife and we try to pass down through our children, and we taught them how to police each other.
Yeah. Talk about that year, that special year, 68.
That's
a year after the disturbances here in Detroit. So I feel like that win meant something different because of what had happened the
Well,
year
they started
before.
in '67 riots, and in '68 with newspapers on a strike. People don't realize it.
Right,
All
right.
we had then it was Ernie Harwell, great voice. But I seen white and black people came together as family in the ballpark, and I think we did that as winning. I seen people start hugging each other in the stand and seeing more black and white people together. We brought the town back together. And I tell people that all the time. One thing about our sports, not only baseball, this whole basketball, football, look like when we have a problem, it looks like our people come together. It always come together through sports to make turn our city, like what's going on now in our city, seeing it turn around. And every time we have a problem, people, they kind of nest together. And I think in '68, what it did for me personally, that, you know, people still recognize me. You know, I think about all the great Hall of Famers, and Ernie Banks, such people like him, never played in the World Series.
Right.
People don't realize it.
Right.
So he's fortunate. When you play in the World Series, you're blessed.
Right.
It's something that nobody can take from you. And I think about all the coaches I had in my life, my little league coach, my high school coach, they all a part of your makeup. And when you win something like that, you represent that. I never.
You're standing on all of their shoulders.
No, I never,
right?
you know, and I think it came from people I was around in life through Judge Keith, taught me where, yes, I thank God every day for giving me all the ability, but I thank and praise Him for putting people around me that help mold me. And you can't forget that. You don't make it all by yourself.
Right. So they've named the field at Michigan and Trumbull the Willie Horton Field of Dreams, but you also have been involved with PAL.
Oh, many years.
For a really long time.
Many years. Mayor Young recruited me through Charlie Pringman years ago, and I think he got Night Train Lane. He recruited him from the mayor over in Chicago. But I came back and I got totally involved with Ford Motor Company, and we started turning PAL around. We went from 9,000 to 22,000 kids program. Actually, I was involved helping in all the bylaws of National PAL and through the country, and we helped kind of develop Pennsylvania, Philadelphia PAL, and New York.
Yeah.
But I learned about PAL. We seen family come together. That's the key. You got to get families back with the kids. And we had a program we started, and I challenged parents. You know, can I get 5 hours of your time each week that you can learn what your kid doing?
Right.
And we came, and from that, we at the time, thank the Bob Ruiz Ford Motor Company, we developed a career development program through education. PAL is more than just a ball in the
Right.
bag.
It's not just
Yes, and so we talk about something beyond the field in college, et cetera. Everybody ain't gonna play sports.
Right.
But you can have a productive life, a quality human being.
Yeah. And that life beyond the field for you has been very rich.
Well, I tell you, I'm thankful to Mr. Illich and getting me back involved many years ago and things that he got me back involved in baseball. But the important thing, I think he got me back with the people.
Yeah.
You know, people have been my life. I played my whole career with the people, and I'm very fortunate. I've been overseas a many times. I just let people became part of my life, and that's when I keep talking about that walk.
Yeah, right, that walk.
Yeah, and you know, in Fort Benning, you know, they got a internal flame on the state of Michigan flag, and they built at this $1 million museum. They built out in Fort Benning, of Willie Horton representing the state of Michigan. I'm just, but that's what this life gave me, and I had a good walk.
Yeah. When you still go to Lakeland, right?
Oh, I go there. This is my 55th year this year.
What do you do down there now?
Well, you know, I still work with, like I said, Mr.
Tigers,
Illich,
right?
and I go down there, and right now I'm special assistant to the executive vice president, Al, but we have a good family staff he got together, and first with Dave Nebraska was here, and at the time I came for Dave and got here, and we kind of turned the organization around. But what I see now and what's going on with Al and his staff, and you see something for many years to come good in this city for baseball.
Yeah.
But we got close-knit working relationship internal upstairs.
Yeah.
And I'm just so proud and thank that Mr. Dillard and his family got me back involved.
Yeah. If you had to compare a current Tiger to Willie Horton, who would it be? Who's most like?
Well, it's hard to compare what a person can do.
Yeah.
But as a person, a human being with the heart and care, I look at Cabrera. He had the love and heart and care, and then I look at we had Troy Hunter, Justin Verlander.
Yeah.
He got that. When you sit down and talk to these guys, they don't talk about themselves. They talk about people in life. And as I look across the leg, we just got this young man Upton with us. I met his dad and mom, and his brother played baseball. They part of not only playing baseball, they part of people in that. And I think them 4 or 5 people I named, I look at them as the heart that I have in life.
Yeah. All right. Willie Horton, obviously great to have you here. And
Oh,
congratulations on that great honor.
Thank you. Blessing to be here.
Yeah. Coming up next, the latest on efforts to improve regional transportation in Southeast Michigan. But first, here's a look at some important moments in Detroit's Black history.
I'm Ken Coleman to look back at African American life in Detroit. This week in 1970, Freda Payne's Band of Gold was released. In 1967, Atlantic Records offered Respect by Aretha Franklin. And in 1980, the Detroit Lions selected Billy Sims of the Oklahoma Sooners during the annual NFL Draft. These are significant events this week in Detroit's Black history, taken from the book On This Day, African American Life in Detroit.
After years of conversation, Southeast Michigan is closer than ever to getting a regional transportation system that will make it easier for people to get around. The vision includes rapid transit along major corridors, improved bus service, and coordination between existing transit providers. But a lot depends on voters in 4 counties approving a new property tax in November to pay for it. Joining me now is the CEO of the Regional Transit Authority, Michael Ford. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Black Journal, yeah. So we now sort of have some more details about what voters are going to face in November. Is going to be is that right, a property tax?
It'll be a property tax in
addition,
November.
Right?
Again, we're going to be coming out with our plan May 31st. We'll be out for about 4 weeks in each of the counties, several meetings to, let people give us comment. But we've been out actually for about 15 months talking to people. And getting input. And really, this is about getting people to jobs, getting them out, being able to have flexibility, getting them to education, fresh food, but really being able to get people where they need to go, mobility, quicker service, more direct service, and just a lot of different buckets of services so people really can take advantage of good transportation.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big problems we've had is that historically we have 2 transit systems here. We've got the Detroit Department of Transportation and SMART. They have sometimes worked well together. More often, I would say they haven't really worked together. I think a lot of people will have a question when they are voting, what specifically is this going to get going? What will change as a result of this?
Well, we're building on what the foundation is right now, but we're looking to improve it, make it more efficient, more effective, but also coordinated services. People can't get from one county to another. So this will really start to help make that happen. People can have better reliability, more frequency of service, later night, earlier morning, better service on weekends. So it really starts to look at the whole county and getting people maybe even really imagining differently about how you can actually move around in these 4 counties.
Yeah, bus rapid transit is something I mentioned. Is that one of the things that will come out of this?
That's one of those buckets. That's really a good type of service, moving you through on Gratiot, Woodward, and Michigan. Dedicated lanes, bus priority, being able to move very quickly, signal prioritization, all these things that make your experience much quicker.
Yeah, I think some people will say, I already pay for SMART if I live in the county. I already pay for DDOT if I live in the city. Now you're asking me to pay again for transit. That's sort of a tough sell, right?
Well, I think it can be, but I think if you can show what's in it for them and how this is going to improve, transportation is a good bet. I mean, for every dollar put into transportation, it yields about $4 in investment. So it brings more density, more employers, more opportunity, property values go up. So transit has a very positive effect over the communities in which it serves. And you look at any metropolitan city, you see they thrive because they have good public transit.
Because they have transit, yeah. You guys have already started work as an organization, and you already have a couple of wins, I would say, on the board. Talk about some of the things you feel like have already been addressed or are starting to be addressed as a result of?
Well,
RTA?
you mentioned the smart DDOT. We're working right now on some coordinated services on Gratiot and Woodward that will be accelerated services on those corridors. But again, that's a collaborative effort, people coming together, seeing the value of working together. And we're looking to have that service starting in the fall, but more express service on those two corridors, basically starting at 5 in the morning till 12 at night. And then weekend service would none exist. There's only about 6 hours of express service between the suburbs and the cities right now. This will really start to help with that issue.
Yeah. When you have been out talking to people in different parts of the region about transit, as you guys have been, what are the things you hear from people? I would imagine there's some skepticism. I mean, people here, it's funny because people here will talk about how bad transit is, and they all, because they live with it, but they don't get that we've made those choices as a community, and that really the only fix is us doing something different.
Right. I mean, people go to other places, they see other things, they wonder, they come back and they wonder why. And there's not an investment. It's about $67 per capita compared to a Cleveland at $137 or a Chicago at $272. What I'm hearing though is people are excited about the opportunity. I think they see the benefits, they see what it could happen. Millennials, they want to be able to have good transportation, not pay for insurance, or they don't want the maintenance of a car. Yeah. You've got folks who want to be able to rely on good transportation. Elderly and disabled folks, they want to be able to age in place and get where they want, have the freedom and flexibility to go to a baseball game, to go to other places, get to a restaurant and be able to get back. These are the things that I'm hearing, getting to an educational institution so I can advance myself. These are the kind of things I'm hearing.
Yeah. How does RTA dovetail with the new light rail that is going in, and I guess is going to open in 17? I think is the plan. Is RTA ultimately going to manage that, and does that become something to build on rail-wise for a broader
Absolutely. I mean, that's really a catalyst, a kind of a game changer, that shows that something can get done. At some point, in the near future, we'll have responsibility for that. But there's definitely coordination and communication, and looking at the system as a whole with the people mover, the M1, or now Q line, I believe.
I don't like that. I'm still calling it M1.
Okay. AATA in Ann Arbor and the DDOT Smart, but really looking at an integrated system where people have mobility options to get where they want to go.
Speaking of Ann Arbor, we still are thinking about better transit options between here and there.
Absolutely.
Amtrak, I guess, is still looking at a high-speed train, but there's some other options, and of course the airport, which is sort of between the 2 points.
Right.
We still need better ways to get there.
Commuter rail is a big issue, and we're looking as part of our plan, our bucket of service between Ann Arbor and Detroit. That's part of our plan, as we'll be releasing in May 31st, and some form of bus rapid transit. So a couple different ways to try to address that. Airport service is very familiar to me because when I was there, we got that started.
Right.
But we're looking to duplicate that out of the other 3 counties as well.
Yeah.
And that's an important gateway when people come to an airport to be able to get to and from where they want to go with good public transit.
Yeah. So the rollout of this millage plan starts when?
Well, we're going to be out again, rolling this out May 31st. We'll be out for 4 weeks, and we'll have a ton of meetings in each of the 4 counties, get input. Our board will be taking action on the plan, the financing, and the ballot language in July. And then we'll be out further educating folks and getting more and more support, because this is a critical issue. And I think there's an opportunity really to do something transformative for this area.
It'd be the first time in more than 40 years we really had a big win, I think, on the idea of regional transit. That would be huge. What's the thinking behind November vote versus August vote?
Well, legislative-wise, we have to do it in November.
You have to do it
so
in
we
November.
don't really have it, and it's got to be every even year. And
do you worry about? I mean, the turnout issue obviously is different in August than it is in November.
I think there's a lot of things going on, but I think we're going to be out communicating, educating. I mean, there's a lot of folks that are involved and feel this is important, from the business communities to other agencies supporting this, just to people on the street, advocacy groups. and just getting out and getting that message and be able to be very clear about what's in it for them and why this is going to be important.
Do you expect that the leaders of the three governmental entities that are involved, Detroit, Macomb County, Oakland County, they'll all be behind
Yeah,
it?
they've been part of this process, and I think we're going to have some good support there.
Okay. All right. Michael Ford, CEO of the Regional Transit Authority, thank you very much.
Thank you.
For being here, and good luck
Thank you very much.
with your plans. That's our program for today. Thanks for watching. You can get more information about our guests at AmericanBlackJournal.org. And as always, you can connect with us on Facebook and on Twitter. Plus, you can also hear our program on WDET 101.9 FM. We'll see you next time.
At DTE Energy, we believe that we have a greater responsibility. We believe that being part of a community means being involved in the fabric of that community, investing time, effort, and resources in the communities we serve. DTE Energy Foundation is a proud sponsor of American Black Journal.